unfiltered, no sugar added talk radio. You've tuned in live to the number one morning talk show in all of Central Mississippi. Number one in our hearts, number one in our souls, and possibly, can't confirm or deny, number one on the charts. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards, the maitre d' of chaos here on WYAB. Streaming worldwide at WYAB.com as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search, you know it, WYAB. Oh, podcast, all that good stuff, always available typically by 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Show gets over at 9, takes me about an hour to do all the editing, and then bam, just search Clay Edwards Show wherever you download podcasts, stream music, etc. Hey, if you would do me a favor, pull out your phone, go to your podcast app right now. If you have an Apple, I don't know about you, Samsung folks. I like Samsung phones, but man, y'all be messing up some group text. If you go to your phone, if you got an Apple, go to that little purple podcast app. It comes on the phone. Go type in Clay Edwards Show and hit subscribe. You don't even have to put on notifications, but just hit subscribe. My goal is to get that subscriber count up this year. So I was just sitting here getting ready, doing a little last minute show prep. But really, I was just playing on Facebook, but I call it show prep. Never know what you may find. And lo and behold, I found some show prep. Funny how that happens. And I think that's what separates my show from so many others. And don't take that the wrong way. I'm not knocking anybody else's show. I'm just saying it's something that separates mine. That doesn't mean it's good or bad or indifferent. But I think Facebook and social media is the pulse of what people are interested in. Because especially like those community Facebook groups. So as much as I hate Facebook because it's ran by a bunch of crazy cucks in California, I enjoy it as a great resource for show prep. And again, for just getting a pulse of what's going on in the community. Because the media may be telling us one thing. Like, no, y'all be mad about this right now. Yeah, be mad about this. Trump. Orange men bad. Racism. But you get on social media and that don't always translate, especially to Facebook. Now, there's a lot of that on there. By all means, you can find all you want. But, and especially on X, but that's what it's for. It's a bunch of political junkies, a bunch of culture warriors, a bunch of social justice warriors, like people who are really knee deep in the weeds of all this. So that's all that is. I guess it's, at least that's all it is in my algorithm. Anyway, irrelevant. I was just sitting here on Facebook. Complete rabbit hole there. I just shared a post. Y'all need to go to my Facebook page and see it. A guy from Oklahoma, black dude from Oklahoma, got in Jackson selling his looks like a box Chevy with the square headlights, old Caprice. Got a guy to send him a deposit on Cash App. It was a Facebook Marketplace scam is what I'm getting at. Got here. They did the old rope-a-dope with him. Was going to meet here. Then it was here. They actually got this guy in the Whole Foods parking lot with the counterfeit certified check on a weekend. Guys, it is my mission in life. One of them is to, I'm kind of conflicted because I do want to see a lot of Jacksonians go to jail. I think it's a good place for a bunch of them. They're dredges on society. So I just think a good place for them is in jail. But on the flip side, I don't like seeing people get screwed out of money either. So it's like I feel like I'm trying to warn y'all. I get it, man. When you're selling something, it's exciting. It's exciting to think you're getting rid of whatever it is. Maybe you're making some money. Maybe you're just getting out from under something. And it's quick to jump the gun and think to yourself, man, who would write a bad check in 2024? Who would use a counterfeit check? I got a picture of the guy. I got his Facebook. No, you got a Facebook. It ain't his. It ain't his real name. Not his real name at all. Anyway, long story short, I mean, it's a long post. It's a good read. The guy did get his car back, and I haven't been able to read all the details yet. But guys, I haven't talked about it in a while. Do not meet people from the city of Jackson or Canton and accept a certified check. It's 99% fake. Do not take certified checks or personal checks. Take cash. Cash money millionaires. Take cash. And bring you a counterfeit money checker. But, even if you were going to do this, you could have simply just taken a picture of his driver's license. That is usually the first thing. Like, no, dog. I ain't doing that. I mean, look, I don't want to let somebody take a picture of my driver's license either. But I ain't out here using counterfeit checks. So avoidable. So avoidable. I mean, this guy was charging like $40,000 for this car. I mean, it's kind of in that donk community. It's a nice car. I'm not saying that's how I roll. But y'all know me, I'm a little hood. I mean, I like donks. I like tacky stuff. It takes every bit of fiber in my being not to donk up my rides. That's why I don't give these kids so much hell. I'm not offended by the squatted trucks. I like tacky stuff. I'm not saying I would squat in my truck. I'm just making a point. I, too, like tacky things, so I try not to be very judgmental about it. Let me get my notes pulled up here. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. I know y'all heard me rant about this before, but I'm talking to a microphone here, and I'll pull my phone up to my face for the facial recognition software to unlock it, and it won't do it because of the microphone. I have to move away for long enough for it to do it. Can we just get back to putting passwords in phones? Good Lord. Can we just get back to phones not needing any of this stuff? Can we just rip the internet off the phones? I promise. I'm so close to just getting me one of those little OG flip phones and just calling it a day. Maybe one of my little old Nokia bricks still work. Anyway. Text line this morning. You guys are already texting in. Lightning says, I just subscribed to your podcast. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, my good friend, Mr. Lightning. When they say ride like lightning, crash like thunder. Let's see here. Unknown texture. I just hit follow button, podcast on my iPhone for you. Thank you much. Thank you much. All right. This came in at 4:28 this morning. Okay. So I made a video about this one last night to whomever it was that texted me at 4:28 this morning. Which, hey, feel free to text me 24 hours a day. I ain't mad. We got two. Not one, but two. Brand new, effed around and found out grand champions. Guys, I tell y'all all the time, we got to celebrate our victories. We take a lot of L's. They're trying all they can to make to make insanity normal. When the good guys win again, hashtag, we have to celebrate our W's. Two Jacksonians, and I'll give you three guesses what kind of car, but the first two don't count. Dodge Charger. Two Jacksonians and a Dodge Charger coming up 55 in Byram. They decide they get blue lighted. They decide to keep on going. Well, what did they try to do? They tried to escape to the criminal safe haven of Chokwe Antar Lumumba's Jackson, Mississippi. What they found out when they got there is that the Capitol Police get to patrol everywhere now. That's right. That's right. They wrecked out the car or got ran off the road, something or another. Ran on foot. One of them got caught. The other is on the loose. Must have been a fat boy that got caught like me. I don't know if I ain't winning no foot races. Unless somebody's chasing me, and probably not the police. You ain't going to outrun them. I guess one guy did. So I guess I'm wrong. But anyway, we got two brand new effed around and found out grand champions. See, that's what this whole, somebody asked me the other day, like, Clay, how did the whole FAFO thing get started? I think I told this story on my live stream. A, it's just something I've been saying for years. B, I tell my way too much personal business on here. I think that's why so many of y'all either love me or hate me. You know the real Clay. This is not an act up here. I mean, y'all know about everything about me. So I take Ambien to go to sleep at night. And one night, probably a Friday or Saturday night, that I didn't have to go straight to sleep, I took my Ambien and I broke through that wall. After about 45 minutes, if you don't go to sleep, it converts from a sleeping med to a hallucinogenic. And you become your own secret Santa. You start ordering things that you see online and don't remember doing it. Well, I ordered a WWE replica championship belt off Walmart.com that came into my Facebook feed for some reason or another. Now, I went on to bed. A week or two later, I get a notification on my Shopify that a package has been delivered. I'm like, what package has been delivered? And it was a WWE championship belt. I'm like, well, I text my girlfriend. I'm like, look what I got. Anyway, so I just set it up behind me on the shelf there, and I was making my videos, and it just came together one night, man. Somebody had run from the police into the criminal safe haven of Jackson, I believe from Pearl. I think I remember specifically which was the first incident. And I just looked behind, and I was like, they effed around and found out. I said, as a matter of fact, I threw the belt over my shoulder, tapped it twice, like Ric Flair. And that's where it was born. And here we go. It's become, I guess, my trademark ever since. All right, again, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. The phone line this morning, 601-879-0002. When we come back, I want to we got a bunch of stories to hit too. To hell with the devil. They're trying to ban Satanism on state-owned property. Sign me up for that. Let's see here. I want to know, there was a story that broke yesterday, and this is going to be what we hit when we come back. Who shot Miss Hinton? A lovely little black lady driving down 220 a few months ago. Thinks she's having a heart attack. Pulls over, rear ends an 18-wheeler. Passes out. Police waking her up. Man, you've been shot. Y'all have laughed at me over the years when I've suggested we have snipers that randomly shoot people on these interstates around here. But I'm the one that's always ended up being right about this. And here's another example. We're going to discuss it when we come back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, let's talk about breakfast and lunch in Rankin and Madison County today. Burgers, blues, barbecue is the play. The Blue Plate Special, oh, man, it looks so good. Red beans and rice with sausage or hamburger steak. The sides are mashed potatoes and green beans. That sounds phenomenal. That's available at all three locations. Madison, the brand new location, Dogwood and Flowood, and, of course, downtown Brandon. Hey, if you're hungry for breakfast, Madison and Flowood serve breakfast 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Get over there. Try the chicken and waffles. My goodness. I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't know if I've ever told anybody this. I've actually never had chicken and waffles. It's just, I always miss it. It's never available where I want to go. I'm on the radio now, and I miss breakfast. But I've never had fried chicken and waffles with some syrup all over it. Sounds phenomenal. I've had plenty of waffles. I've had plenty of fried chicken. I can imagine they taste great together. Well, they've got it over there at Burgers Blues Barbecue, all 3 locations. So, hey, guys, don't forget, if you got a big party, big group of folks, Burgers Blues Barbecue is going to be your place for that party. We're going to be having my daughter's 22nd birthday party there one day next week at the Brandon location. We're going to take advantage of that big patio they got. And I know I've thrown a couple parties there myself and had well over 100 people at one of them, and there was still room for plenty more. So if you got a big need a big space for your birthday parties or whatnot, consider Burgers Blues Barbecue. And don't forget, they have multiple food trucks available for your big events. Give them a shout today, burgersblues.com, and get out there and try that red beans and rice for lunch today. All right, I had a caller on hold. Caller, feel free to call back if you want to get on the air. But in the meantime, I want to talk about who shot Miss. Well, all right, let's try this. The caller's calling back. We'll give the caller the benefit of the doubt here. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, man.
Hey. Hey, turn your radio down.
Hey, man.
Hey.
That whole deal with shootings on 220, that started a number of years ago when it was found out that gang initiation was you're riding up down the road and you see a car with their high beams on. If you flash them to put their low beams on, they shoot. They shoot into the car or whatever, or attempt to. But I wanted to say one thing about yesterday with the Capitol Police. I was taking a worker home and actually rode by that on Robinson Street at Lindsay Drive, and I thought, I don't know. I guess they were trying to evade police when they crashed, but yeah, that was pretty wicked.
Hey,
I knew it was something serious because there were like 8 or 9 Capitol Police and like maybe 2 unmarked JPD vehicles, or they could have been unmarked Capitol Police. I don't know if Capitol Police do the unmarked thing.
I'm not sure. I know Byram Police was involved in it too. It could have been them. Hey,
okay, could have been. Yep.
Hey, who is this?
This is Howard Fortner.
Okay, you sound like somebody else.
Yeah. Now, I think I saw you about to walk in the radio station about half a week ago, maybe close to a week now. You were standing out in the parking lot talking to a gentleman and had some of the, oh gosh, I can't even think of the name of them now, the metal glasses that you put beverage in or whatever, tea, whatever.
Yeah, cups. Yeah, the tumblers.
Yeah.
Yep, that was probably me. Sounds like some of my shenanigans.
Well, I'll politely introduce myself next time.
Yeah, please do. Always love meeting folks.
Yep,
friendly folks anyway.
Oh yeah. Right, it is crazy. It has gotten crazy on 220 though, man.
Oh, it is, man.
I still run it because I'm a male, but I don't recommend my mom or any of the females in my family to travel 220.
Look, man, I had to do it twice, on the way here and on the way home, and it is something I dread. I mean, really, not just 20, but that stretch of 50, that stretch of not just 220, but that stretch of 20 from Valley to the 220 split also is, well, really just as soon as you come over the bridge. I've ranted about it enough. I don't want to bore everybody, but that's professional driver space right there. That is not for rookies, for the faint of heart.
That's right.
All right, brother. Right. Appreciate you, man.
Okay, man. Have a good one.
You too. All right, man. Sounded like another guy that used to call in. Couldn't remember his name. But anyway, yeah, man. Look, 220 is a death spiral. It is not policed nearly as much as it should be. Because y'all remember a couple years ago, maybe it was 2 years ago or less, the Highway Patrol was going to start writing more tickets on the interstate. And what happened? What happened? Community leaders and activists got out there and cried racism because they weren't going to be allowed to speed. They cried racism. They're writing tickets on 220. There's a speed limit. It's not the damn Autobahn. My God, y'all are so too stupid to be stupid. Roadblocks aren't legal in Jackson anymore. Well, they're legal, but they get sued. The own mayor sided with the ACLU to stop roadblocks. I can't take him serious. I cannot take him serious. The very mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, sided with the ACLU on the bums and roadblocks. I'm sure his sister probably had a hand in it too. So let's talk. Y'all know me. I will go down a Lumumba rabbit hole, and it will do the whole show talking about the crisis of incompetence that he is. But I'm sure he's to blame for this too. So, who shot Miss Hinton? The story's over on WLBT. It was Friday afternoon in September when Lisa Hinton was shot in the back while driving on the interstate. This should scare the hell out of everybody. I ain't telling you to live in fear, but man, we might want to borrow Chockway's bulletproof vest from riding through Jackson. It was the end of her workday around 3:30 p.m., and she was heading home from Raymond. While she was on I-220 in Jackson, Hinton began to grab her chest. She says she felt as if she was having a heart attack. Hinton knew she needed to get off the road. Quote, I felt like I was passing out, she said. She took the Industrial Drive exit and did just that, passed out. Hinton does not know what happened from there, only that her car, a black Toyota Corolla, coasted and veered off the road, eventually scraping the side of a concrete barrier. The car came to a stop after bumping into the back of a parked 18-wheeler. When Hinton came to, the driver of the 18-wheeler was at her door asking if she was okay. She couldn't remember a thing. Police came, and then the paramedics. As she was being loaded into the ambulance, she was told she had been shot. Quote, I had no idea, Hinton said. She had never even heard the bullets enter the car. The AC was on as well as the radio, she explained. The vehicle was also older. It runs a little bit louder than a new car, she says. Hinton's Corolla, which she still drives, now has 2 bullet holes in the rear, one beside the tail light and one directly below the Toyota logo. One bullet traveled through the passenger side seat, disappearing in the dashboard. Well, that's a built Toyota tough right there. The other went through the driver's seat and into Hinton's back. And you still got the bullet hole in the seat here. They got photos of it. She says, I thank God I'm still here. I'm living to tell you the story, she said. She remained in the hospital for around a week after being shot and then returned in the middle of October after developing pneumonia. She had surgery on Thursday, February 15th. Great way to spend Valentine's. Well, that was the day before. Never mind. Anyway, February 15th to have the bullet removed. The medical bills have cost Hinton thousands, and this was before her surgery on Thursday. Quote, I'm going to say I'm struggling, Hinton said about the financial situation, but the little money I had in savings was just wiped out. There is a GoFundMe that was created by, I believe, a friend of hers by the name of Sheila Slay, or Shelly Slay created it. I'm not going to go on and on and on about this. They don't know who did it. It's a quasi-lengthy article. It's worth the read. Out of respect for a woman that got shot, I highly recommend reading it. I will, if anybody has it in their hearts to donate some money to this poor lady, whether it's $5, $500, I can send you the GoFundMe link, and I ain't a fan of GoFundMe. Let's just not make this about politics. If you want to donate some money to this lady, you can go read the WLBT article, or I'll send you the GoFundMe link. It's also up on my X account. Just go to x.com/SaveJXN, and it should be I think it's the last thing I tweeted last night before I went to bed. Let me quote Oliver Anthony. I just need to get a sound bite. It's a damn shame that you can't even drive through Jackson anymore without getting shot. Don't tell me this is an isolated incident either. An isolated incident is making it through this bastard without getting shot. Now, I know this one was back in September, but here's just off the top of my head. This lady, the guy that got killed out there on North State Street, the DJ, Anthony Davis, I think was his name, got killed on his way home from work while the two fools were doing the Grand Theft Auto 5-style shootout running down the road. And, of course, neither one of them got shot, just the innocent guy. And then you have, of course, the viral video, which, by the way, give me one. I got a rant about that, too. The viral video from out there by QT, which they're saying that was from October, whatever. Doesn't matter when it was from. It happened. Of people just hanging out the car shooting randomly. That's just off the top of my head. Of people driving down the roads, getting shot or shot at. And if these fools could actually shoot, a whole lot more people would get shot. Now, now that viral video, I actually won a Facebook dispute with Facebook. The guy that claimed ownership on that thing he cost me a strike on Facebook for copyright infringement. And the copy I had no watermark or who owned it. And so if you weren't friends with this guy, there was no way for you to know. Somebody sent me the video. I mean, I ain't saying right, wrong, or indifferent, but you can't credit or pay for it, which I would have never paid for it. I'm not paying for y'all shenanigans. Anyway, I called the guy because Facebook tells you who made the complaint on a copyright claim. So I screenshot it, posted it on Facebook, and called the guy out. We got argue in the comments for a minute. He sent me a message to my Instagram page, which if I don't follow him, it just goes to spam. My email address is readily available, but this guy chose violence as far as I'm concerned, not literally internet violence. This guy chose to try to cost me a copyright strike, get my page demonetized because I shared a video that I somehow was supposed to know he owned. Long story short, Facebook sided with me. I took a screenshot when I won an appeal. I have never won an appeal on Facebook before. We got Lacey on the phone. Lacey, good morning.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hello?
Hey, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say that the people in Jackson, and maybe anywhere else, they don't care about people shooting at people out of their cars unless it's them or their families. That's the only time they zero in on that is when it's, their family. And that's so sad. It really is.
No, they don't care. I mean,
no. They say, I've heard them. I say things to my clients about stuff like that, and they'll sit there and say, well, it doesn't concern me until it concerns them. It's really ridiculous. It's sad. But I just wanted to say that.
Oh, yeah, they don't care. We're preaching to the choir up here.
I wish I could put it on the billboard. I wish I could put it up on a billboard. People don't care unless it's them or their family.
Yeah, and then
that's the only time they're concerned.
Then they want to start a GoFundMe. They want to start printing shirts with people's faces on it, having rallies and everything when it's their family. Or Lacey, God forbid, if the shooter was white, it would be a national travesty.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true.
We shouldn't be politicizing death and murder, but here we are.
Well, I get a lot of static from people all the time because my husband is Caucasian. I've always been this way all my life. I like doing things the right way. That's the way God made me, and I don't want to change, and I'm not going to change. Jackson is not concerned. I don't even know how to say his name, but the mayor is worthless, shitless, excuse my French. He's a piece of trash that got into office. who's been handed down things from his father and his mother all his life, and now he doesn't know how to run a city. He don't know what he's doing. He doesn't. He's just clueless to what to do. Not that he's trying to do anything, because he ain't nothing but a criminal.
Yep. All right, Lacey, I got to take my break. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. It's good
bye-bye.
to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let me tell you, I know Lacey. I know personally know Lacey, and she talked about her husband. He outkicked his coverage. People tell me that all the time about my girlfriend, that Clay, you outkicked your coverage. Lacey's husband outkicked his coverage. Lacey is a beautiful lady. So I see why she gets hate, because she's a beautiful lady. They just mad. They mad. All right, let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at My Pure Air I keep doing it. I keep saying My Pure Air Consultants. At Pure Air Consultants, their website is mypureairconsultants.com. Here's the deal, guys. They are celebrating their 20th anniversary of delivering exceptional heating and cooling systems to Central Mississippi, and they want to offer you a rare gift. How about a free labor warranty for 5 years? Are you tired of expensive heating and furnace repairs or high utility bills? Specialties at Pure Air Consultants include heater installation, furnace installation, heater repair, furnace repair, heating maintenance, heat pumps, heat recovery, ventilator installation, new construction builds, and, of course, thermostat installation and more. Financing is available. Contact them today at mypureairconsultants.com. Ream, a new degree of comfort. Literally, yesterday at my house, I went from the heater on to the AC on, back to the heater on. Working good, but if it doesn't, Pure Air Consultants will be my first call. Let's see here. Let's run through some of your text messages real quick. Man, this is going to be a short segment because I ran way over with that last segment. We're gonna talk some more about the Kansas City stuff. I ruffled some feathers yesterday. The best I can tell, and y'all know if you've listened to this show for a long time, I've been telling y'all that for as long as I can remember, that the first way for me to know, I guess we're just going to do it now. For the best way for me to know it wasn't a white man, a white male that was a biological white male that actually claims being one. Best way for me to know it wasn't one of us is when they don't tell us or show us who it is. Just like the trans shooter in Nashville. Well, they did all they could to hide that. Most of all, I don't have it all in front of me, but most of the mass shootings here lately, which, you know, they differ. What is a mass shooting? You know, because if the shooter's black, it's just called gang violence. But when it's white, it's a mass shooting, and then the whole narrative machine gets going. Ban guns. More background checks. I don't know how much more of a background check you can possibly do to get a gun. I really don't. Either you're a felon or you ain't. But that's not, you know, there's red flag laws. They sound good. Like, oh, yeah, we don't need mentally ill people with guns. At some point, we just got to say that it's survival of the sickest. And mentally ill people deserve to be able to protect themselves, too. They're getting robbed and killed in Jackson, too. They need to be allowed to fight back. I get so tired of every time one of these mass shootings happen, and there's like, he was on the FBI's radar. Police have been out to his house. Well, you should have done something if that's the case. Anyway, y'all know I've been on this. This has been my hill to die on this show, and it's one of the things that They feel like it gives them cannon fodder for calling me a racist because I mentioned this. And now the rest of the country, the rest of the media in the country is saying the same thing I've been saying for as long as I've been doing this show. I started with Ann Coulter, and then I heard Clay Travis and so on and so forth. I heard everybody started talking about this yesterday. All the YouTubers I listened to, everybody is finally seeing what I've been saying. When the shooter is not a white male, they don't tell you who the shooter is. They finally had to release some names yesterday. Still not a mugshot. Still no mugshot. Same right here in Jackson. Right here in Mississippi. The kid the Capitol Police arrested for that Atkins viral video that I just talked about, hanging out the Toyota Camry, shooting the gun everywhere. Still ain't seen a mug shot for that one. Did we just not take his mug shot? I guess we can just take a screenshot of the video and say, okay, here's his mug shot. And that's why you got people mad. That people are fed up with this nonsense. They're like, oh, we can't show the picture because he's a minor. It's a juvenile. Well, you had no problem showing Kyle Rittenhouse, Nick Sandman. I don't even want to compare with his stuff with any of this. Of course, when it's a minor that they can use for their narrative, they'll tell you everything about him. They accused a 9-year-old kid dressed in an Indian garb and face paint as being a racist at a Chiefs football game. It's kind of ironic this happened to the Chiefs, too. Some of the bad karma came back their way. Anyway, they have no problem outing somebody when it fits their narrative. But when it doesn't, again, easiest way to know that it was some type of minority that committed the violence, easiest way to know it was them is when they won't tell you it's one of us. I hope I made sense there. It's sickening, and I'm fed up with it. That's why I go as hard as I do. Like, I say it all the time. If it wasn't for double standards, Democrats would have no standards. We'll be right back. We got about a minute or so here before the break. I just want to say this real quick. Some people corrected me on the Guns and Gear text line. Said, oh, they did release the mugshot to that guy. No, they eventually released the mugshot to the guy on Atkins. It was not initially released when it came out. I make videos on these things when they do it, and there was no mugshot. So, yes, it did come out. He was wearing the orange jumpsuit. Thank you for pointing that out. I couldn't remember if it actually came out or not. But it was initially, when they did that big press event and they announced that they had made an arrest, his photo was not available. And he had been arrested that was on a Monday. They had arrested him Friday. So Monday, they released his name and still no photo. I just find that weird. I ain't changing my narrative. They're trying to hide who's doing these crimes. They keep trying to tell us that the greatest threat to our democracy and our safety is from white men with AR-15s. Now, that may be true if they want to continue to F around and find an outing. When the poop finally does hit the fan, that may be the greatest threat to saving our democracy. But right now, the greatest threat to our communities, and y'all can hate me for saying it, is young black men with guns in cities like Jackson and Chicago. That is the greatest threat to our safety and communities right now. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. It is hour 2. This segment brought to you by Reliable Rental Equipment right out there in Jackson, Mississippi, located on the corner of Meadowbrook and between North State and West State, not West Haven, North State and I forget the other name of the street. Anyway, we'll just say the corner of North State and Meadowbrook. Here's the deal, man. They got 10% off this week on all rollback dumpsters as well as equipment rental. 10% off. And here's the other cool thing. Free delivery if it's within 10 miles. So 10-10. 10-mile free delivery, 10% off. So you've been needing to clean up that lot, needed a rollback dumpster, didn't want to spend all that money. Get a reliable rental equipment today and let them bring you a rollback dumpster. You need a crew to clean it. They can supply that too. It's not mandatory. It costs you a little extra, but they do have access to workers. Well, that's saying something nowadays. Also, on all their heavy equipment, you're not very confident with your equipment driving ability. That's the word I'm looking, not the word I'm looking for, but controlling the equipment operator. That's the word I was looking for. Your equipment operating ability. They got operators that you can rent by the day as well. You know, no sense in having to pay a whole nother contractor to come out and do something. I think you will save money, you know, renting that backhoe or that dozer and getting that work done by reliable rental equipment. Check them out online, reliablerentalequipmentms.com, reliablerentalequipmentms.com, located right there in North Jackson, right outside Fondren there at North State and Meadowbrook. All right, I'm just going to keep rolling with the way we ended the last hour. Phone lines are wide open, 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. By the way, Guns and Gear is back opened up after being closed Monday and Tuesday to celebrate the life of Todd that worked there. So get by there, see those guys, and break a little bread with them. Let's see. We'll talk more about them before the end of the show. I just wanted to mention that. Anyway, Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Let's see here. Got a text from somebody, said exactly, it's not 24-hour coverage. And what he's referring to is when the shooters ain't white, it ain't wall-to-wall coverage. They try to make it go away as quick as they can. I mean, I think one of the most disgusting examples of that is the Waukesha massacre, the Christmas parade in Wisconsin? The black dude that ran over all the people and killed all those people and said he wanted to kill some white people. Boy, that went away so quick. That went away so quick. You know, because they were determined to tell us Kyle Rittenhouse, you know, who was defending himself and climate changed a pedo that was chasing after him. I mean, that's the irony of that story. It's still, if you ask most inner city black folks about who Kyle Rittenhouse is, they will tell you that he killed a couple of Black Lives Matter supporters that were black, because that's what they do. The media would never tell you. But we're going back into my greatest hits here. The media would never tell you that they were white and one had been arrested for domestic violence, the other had been arrested and was an actual pedophile. But anyway, you have a literal pedophile who had been arrested for doing bad things to kids, chasing a kid, trying to do bad things to him. I mean, who knows what he would have done to Kyle if he had caught him? Would he have violated him? Probably. I mean, his history says yes. I mean, Kyle was defending himself from a pedophile. I mean, I remember a time in America, in my dad's America, when, regardless of your political affiliations or how much Trump derangement syndrome you may have had or not, we could all agree that pedophiles deserve to die. That you know what, like, political affiliation don't matter. But now, if you're a pedo, but you're also screaming Black Lives Matter, that washes away all your sins. This is why I go as hard as I go. Because y'all will never be able to rationalize that for me. You'll never be able to tell me, yeah, Clay, but if he supports Black lives, that's more important than anything. Anything. No, No, it's not. It ain't. It just ain't. I ain't going to pretend it is. I'm not going to play your little games. None of that. I love my black folks out there that ain't screaming this nonsense. But that's what the media does. They have you think that Kyle Rittenhouse went there and massacred 3 black men, not 3 Black Lives Matter supporting pedophiles. Big difference there. And shame on the media for doing what they did to Rittenhouse. But, you know, until this, I got some very bad breaking news. I'm going to get to this in just a second. Until this era that we're living through, where everything has to be seen through the lens of a narrative, and until we can sit there and acknowledge what the problem is with guns in America. Okay, this is the part most white radio hosts won't say out loud. So they tiptoe and they dance around it. And they do Olympic ice skating trick-worthy tricks, avoiding it. It's just saying what I'm about to tell you, and so I just said it. The problem in America is with guns is younger black youth in urban cities. This is facts. I feel like I'm telling y'all water's wet, the sky's blue. I don't know why this is controversial. It's just fact. That is a drastic problem. That is where the overwhelming majority of murders are happening, is in black majority Democrat cities. Go pull up the top 10 deadliest cities in America. Find me a Republican mayor. Find me a majority white city. Please. I'm here for it. Prove me wrong. So until we start addressing, Democrats, y'all love your root causes. Oh, y'all love root causes. Till we address the real root cause of gun problems and gun violence in this country, you can ban all the AR-15s you want. You can round every AR-15 in the world up, burn it, melt it down, throw it in the ocean. And you'll still have just as much gun violence in majority black Democrat-led cities. Until you address your root causes of problems in your community. You could disarm every legal gun-owning white conservative in this country, and the murder rate would not go down a nickel. That's just facts, Jack. Like it, love it, or leave it. That's why I call it reality radio. Real talk, hashtag. Let's read some of your texts. Oh, yeah, we just got some breaking news here. When news breaks, we break with it. This is from WLBT. Multiple crashes on US 84 cause mass casualty event. Blocks all traffic down in Jones County. Something you never want to hear is mass casualty event. Jones County, Mississippi, said multiple people have been injured following a massive multi-vehicle crash in Jones County. Crash happened around 6:30 a.m. on today along US 84 West near Ben Pitts Road. Jones County Sheriff's Department reported the incident as a mass casualty event with multiple people injured and entrapped. All lanes of traffic are currently blocked as emergency personnel work to assess the scene and render aid. The Sheriff's Department requested drivers find an alternative route and use caution while driving through the fog. Man, that's terrible. That's terrible. Prayers, thoughts and prayers to all the people involved there. Sad, sad situation. All right, let's read some of your text messages now. I appreciate you guys chiming in on the Guns and Gear text line. Reagankin says, "You're so right." Thank you. Years ago, a man like Biden who got in the shower with his teen daughter would never have come close to the White House. Rittenhouse should have sued the estates of his attackers. He's suing everybody. This is my favorite nemesis here. It says, Clay, why are you harping on the guy's past again? If Clay Edwards were to ever go off the rails, would you want them to drag your drug abuse back up? If pedophiles was in the bro, there's a big difference in pedophilia and doing some drugs. Huge difference. I own my past. It's part of my story. I'm not even ashamed of it. I'm glad I did it. Had a lot of good times at the time. And towards the end, the wheels came off the tracks, but I wouldn't be here today. I mean, you're never going to shame me. Hey, I can do bad all by myself. I don't need your help. You ain't never going to shame me. That's why I talk about it. That's why I put all my past, all my flaws, all my faults on center stage and talk about it all the time. I'm never going to give the enemy any weapon against me. I'm taking it off the table. I don't like Eminem, but that movie 8 Mile, there's that part in there at the end where he's doing that battle rapping, and he says, yeah, I'm trailer trash. Yeah, my mom, a single mom. Yeah, this. He took all the venom out of the other guy's bite before he could ever even say it, and that just stuck with me. So I said, when I do this, when I get started with this, if this ever blows up or just as I go, once I realized I was starting to develop a little following and kind of wanted to do this, I said, man, I'm just going to be as 100% honest with everybody as I can. You know, so there's nothing anybody's ever going to be able to say about me that I ain't already said about myself. I ain't saying I ain't said too much. Sometimes I should just keep my mouth shut, but to my point, I'm going to be the one to say it. Wild Bill on the Guns and Gear text line. Anyone that starts off with, I know you can't read this on air. I probably don't need to read on air, do I? So we'll skip that one. At least thank you for putting that first. Same texture that said about my past is not trying to shame you. It's just to say that your past is not your present. Here's the deal. If you're a pedophile, you got a redeemed pedophile, you probably need to have some self-awareness and not be chasing a young kid down the street with a gun. Which, I mean, we don't talk about the part that he was a felon with a firearm too, the pedophile. Yeah, he was not redeemed. That his past was his present. Ty says, Rittenhouse sued and will probably never have to work again. Sure, they tried to spin it on him, but he came out on top. Yeah, it's a damn shame what happened to Rittenhouse at such a young age. Now, look, I'll be the first to say, I mean, Rittenhouse did a little effing around and finding out too. I mean, he went into a war zone with a gun, granted for all the best of intentions, try to help save businesses. I'm not faulting him at all, but he went into a hot war zone, and war zone stuff happened, and he had to deal with the fallout from it. Was it fair? Absolutely not. But he does shoulder some of the responsibility for going and doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud that he went, but I don't think he should have at such a young age. Let's take a break real quick. Come back. We're going to continue this line of conversation this morning. I got a couple other things I want to talk about. Let's see here. Well, why give it all away? Tune back in and you'll see what we're going to talk about. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Hey guys, this segment brought to you by our friends over at Advanced Tree Care. Just lock the number in. You ain't got to remember the name. Lock the number in. 601-455-TREE. So easy to remember. 601-455-TREE. That's Advanced Tree Care. They've been in business for over 40 years right here in Central Mississippi. They're licensed, bonded, and fully insured. They offer proper pruning and trimming. They're open 24/7, 365 days a year. They offer tree removal, tree pruning, tree cabling, brush and debris haul off, stump grinding, lot clearing, and storm work clean up. They're a certified, licensed tree surgeon, and they're going to go out on a limb for you. They attack the trees that other tree guys run from. Brother, 40 years in the same market doing business. You know it ain't easy. Give them a call today. That's Advanced Tree Care, 601-455-TREE. All right, man, I'm a little fired up this morning. A little fired up, man. We got right in my wheelhouse this morning. Now I want to circle back just a little bit here, and I want to talk about my black friends for a minute. I hate that term, my black friends, but I don't know any other way to say what I'm trying to say here. The black dudes in this community that stand up against this stuff and speak out against it, as frowned upon as it is, man, it takes a set. It just does. And that's why those guys, whether they agree with me or not, most of them tend to, real recognize real. But those guys, we need more of them. We need to let them know that we appreciate what they're doing. When you see a black dude standing up against this nonsense and speaking out against it, you need to support that guy. You need to let him know how much you appreciate him standing up when it ain't it's easy, sort of, for me to get up here and say these things and go back to Rankin County. I did it when I lived in Jackson, too, so in all, to be fair, it was not as easy then. But it ain't easy for a dude living in Jackson, especially a black guy, speaking out against what's going on in the black community. And we got one on this radio station in Kim Wade. We got dozens of callers that call into these shows, that listen. I meet a bunch of good black folks out there, man, that are standing up against this stuff. And I wouldn't call these like Trump supporters. I'm removing the politics out of it for a minute. These are just good folks out there fighting the fight, acknowledging there's a problem. And that's where it's got to start, right? You got to acknowledge that you got a problem. Now, they love to tell me, the people who refuse to acknowledge there's a problem love to tell me, shut up, Clay. Positive solutions only. Positive solutions only, Clay. If you don't have a magic fix for it, you're not allowed to even mention that we have a problem. You can't acknowledge it unless you can fix it. Well, I can fix it. I got a solution. You just ain't going to like it. But I say it all the time. You can start the repair process by just stopping the bad behavior. I've always said, stop robbing, killing, stealing, drug dealing, and littering. How about stop pretending that those things are a problem and start facing them head on? There's a couple of guys out of Madison, Gluckstadt area that have been coming through, and I think there's two different groups doing it, coming through cleaning up the interstates. Because I think there's another group of like older guys that live over in the Eastover area, and they'll leave the garbage bags full of the stuff there at the exits, hoping the city will, remotely try to do their job and pick stuff up, or maybe it's the state that's responsible. Either way. And like people are trying to get me to have these guys on the show, and while I respect what they're doing, I don't think we need to be cleaning up other people's messes. And because that feeds right into the Democrat narrative. When people love to tell me, well, what are you doing to save Jack? It ain't my job to do it. Now, if I get paid and I work somewhere and somebody asks me to do something, yes, that's my job. Y'all have let these Democrat leaders in Jackson convince y'all that it's your job to go out and clean up the mess, that it's your job to replace the tattered flags, that it's your job to do everything but report crime to the police. They don't want you to do that. That's how they lie and say the crime numbers are down. They're just not answering 911. Crime ain't down. It's down in the Capital Improvement District somewhat, and that's it. And they can only do so much. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say that out loud. Until you admit there's a problem, you don't get to tell me that I don't need to talk about there being a problem. I'm not going to deny. When I had a drug problem, I had to admit that I had a problem. When I battled alcohol, I had to admit that I had a problem. You can't fix the problem until you know you have it. Whatever it may be, whether it's bad financial decisions, too many women, too much partying, too much whatever, till you can admit you got a problem, which the Jackson's got a lot of them, and cities like it. I'm not going to respect your opinion if your opinion is just stick your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. Anyway, shout out to those guys that are going through and cleaning up the city. Kudos to you. But, you know, one of the reasons I ain't had them on the show, because I just think they're enabling Jacksonians. You know, if you never make your kid clean up after themselves, if you never make your kid wash the dishes before they can leave, or whatever the analogy you want to use here, they're never going to do it. So continuing to clean up people's trash for them, they're just going to keep doing it. Oh, look, I littered yesterday, gone today. Good job. And they don't know you're out there doing that. They just think the city's doing it. So therefore, in their mind, oh, man, Chockway and them are doing a good job. All this littering that I'm doing is being cleaned up. I know. Rabbit hole. Let's read some text. In the later today, I want to. I tell you what, I'm gonna shift gears right now. Just make sure we don't have any texts. I really, y'all don't know how much I appreciate your text messages. So I do try to read them all as long as the context is there. Let's do that real quick. Let's see here. Wild Bill says, What sense does banning gun sales and gun shows in Jackson make at all? It's just another feel-good measure. How did a bill like this even get in a committee? This makes zero sense at all. Folks from Jackson can just go to any surrounding city and buy them and bring them out. Yeah, look, man, the last thing Jacksonians need is the ability to not buy guns. You got to fight fire with fire. Again, you're not going to keep the bad guys from buying guns. It's so ridiculous. Let's see here. Bobcat. The night he was killed, Rosenbaum tried to refill his bipolar medication, only to find the drugstore had closed early due to the protest. In a mind-bending twist of fate, or perhaps an all-too-common scenario, Rosenbaum was released from a local hospital earlier that day after his second attempt at suicide. Well, third time's a charm. Reagankin. It is a black father's job to guide his black son and black daughter to a moral, productive adulthood. That is missing and cannot be substituted. We have to face that. Not even strong black women can substitute that father. Well, and look, that's white or black. It is a father's job to father. And look, people think I'm attacking single mothers when I get on here and do this. I'm really not. I'm attacking your situation because at the end of the day, you made the decision to have a child with a guy, without proper vetting. I don't care if it's from a one-night stand or from a multi-year relationship. You made the decision, whether it was just in that moment or over a length of time, to let some ain't crap MFer put a child in you. Now, I get there's other situations where you're happily married, you're going for years, and somebody falls off the deep end. That happens. I get that too. But at the end of the day, I'm still not knocking the single mother for trying to do both jobs. And there's single fathers out there too. That gets left in the – that don't get talked about a whole lot, does it? The single father with full custody. I got a couple friends that they're going through that same thing. Anyway, the mother can only do what the mother can do. I was hearing somebody talk about it yesterday, and I haven't put my own hands on this particular set of data, but it shows that girls raised in a single mother household end up doing a lot better than men raised in a single mother household because they don't have the strong male influence. But the girls do have a strong female influence because they see the mother doing both jobs. And that is the strong influence on the female. It's pretty simple yet interesting. A little bit of information there that I hadn't personally thought about. Let's take a break, come back, and we're going to get into the banning of satanic symbols and Satanism on state property in Mississippi. Jill Ford's put forth a new bill. I'm calling it the "to hell with the devil" bill, but it's got an abbreviation that spells out respect. We'll talk about it on the other side. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Watkins Construction and Roofing. Guys, you need your roof repaired or replaced. They're going to do it with professional courtesy in a timely manner. And again, I say it all the time. You're going to have communication throughout the whole process. What Watkins specializes in, and it's been their thing since day one, is dealing with your insurance companies. And we all know that can be a hassle. Goodness gracious, we're having to help somebody with some insurance stuff just on their automobile the other day, and it's been a disaster. I can only imagine dealing with the complexities of a roofing replacement or repair. Fortunately, I've never had to deal with that myself, but I keep telling y'all stories about people coming out trying to sell me roofs for my house in the most bootleg ways possible, and I walked out of the house yesterday, and I saw something hanging on my door, and it was a flyer. I mean, it's just like, no, I don't want that. When I need a roof, I'll holler at you anyway. Man, the guys at Watkins are just so professional. Give them a call. They're going to come out there and do a complimentary roof inspection. You know, whether you need a full roof or just a small section repaired or replaced, they're going to take care of it. They're not going to try to force something on you that you don't need. They do a lot of business. They don't have to do that. A lot of these places, man, small, a little more independently owned. They have to try to sell you the whole shebang to pay their bills. You're not going to have to worry about that when you're dealing with a company like Watkins. And that's just me shooting from the hip here. So give them a shout today, WatkinsConstructionInc.com. Let them come out and do a complimentary roof assessment today and get you back to knowing you don't have any leaks in your roof. All right, let's see here. All right, no text I want to clear up. Hey, guys, a lot of y'all, several people have bought shirts since I've been on the air. I set up a easier website to go to just buy shirts, like the FAFO shirts. Just go to buyfafo.com, buyfafo.com. I added a exclusive limited edition Kelly Green version of the shirt for St. Patrick's Day. So go check that out. Those, you got till March 8th to get your order in for those. There will be no extra. It is going to be pre-sale only. And I priced them a little bit cheaper than the other shirts. So get over there, check those out, and they'll be mailed to you in plenty of time for the St. Patty's Day, whether you're going to one in Jackson, Birmingham, Savannah, Georgia, Boston, or Chicago. It's the FAFO logo on the Kelly Green. It looks mighty fine to me. And, of course, the regular gray shirt, dark gray shirt is available as well. Love and appreciate all the support from you guys. Hats are on the way. You've asked me about hats. Ordered a test batch of 20. If I like them when they get here, I'm going to get more made. But I don't want to pre-sell those until I get one in my hand and I'm comfortable with it. All right, so to hell with the devil. God, I love that song. Shout out to Miss Jill Ford. Now, I don't know. I reached out to Jill to try to come on the show. She just texted. She's held up in a committee meeting and not going to be able to make it. But Jill has put forth a bill here. I'm opening up the link now. You can go see this at magnoliatribune.com. It's titled, Not Today, Satan. Bill of the Day. Not today, Satan. Here's a little bit of the article. It says, Mississippi is located deep in the heart of the Bible Belt. While Christianity is the most commonly practiced religion in the state, not everyone shares the same spiritual beliefs. Well, we should run them out. However, one Magnolia state lawmaker is working to ensure satanic symbols are left out of public spaces through a bill titled Reject Escalating Satanism by Preserving Essential Core Traditions Act, or the Respect Act. Put some respect on it. Put some respect on God's name. The bill, filed by State Rep Jill Ford, would prohibit any displays, symbols, or the actual practice of satanic worship on public property. The legislation, HB 1282, states that these properties include public schools. Well, that's going to make Democrats mad. Democrats love worshiping Satan in public schools. Public schools or any areas owned by the state or its political subdivisions, such as counties or municipalities. Rep. Ford's Respect Act notes that there exists a wide range of spiritual views among Mississippians, and they are free to practice those in private. So I feel the same way about your sexual activities. And don't care what you do in private. Do all the practicing you want in private. Quit bringing it out to the public schools. Funny how Satanism and this trans stuff run parallel in the places it should be practiced versus not. Anyway. Long story short, if someone is found in violation of this act, should it be signed into law, they could be subject to a misdemeanor criminal offense. I think it should be a hate crime and a felony. Well, Clay, why do you think that? Well, I mean, this is a reaction to what happened with the Michael Cassidy, our great Christian warrior, Top Gun pilot, beheader of Satan statues, Michael Cassidy. He went up there, felt it in his heart, saw something that bothered him so much that he bought his own plane ticket, flew to the state of Iowa, went to the Iowa state capitol, and beheaded the Church of Satan statue. He got charged with a hate crime. A hate crime. We have got to quit playing the brakes to the Democrats' gas. That's the problem with 90% of our conservative leaders here in Mississippi and nationally, is they're just the brakes to slow down the demonic Democrat machine. It's like, I mean, Kim Wade, I know I quote him all the time, but he said something one time. He said, when Democrats are in charge, they go for the jugular. I mean, they go to make generational changes. Look at what they've done at the border. They have ruined this country for generations. But that's what they want. The only thing I can really think of that Republicans have done to make generational changes is Roe versus Wade. And now that's a big one. I don't want to downplay it. That's a big one. But the Democrats are constantly, they did health care. They've opened up the borders, welfare, yada, yada, yada. They made being a conservative and going to a public protest a felony. Me and you ain't allowed to do that anymore. We're insurrectionists. If we go protest against anything Democrats are doing, we're racist insurrectionists. Democrats go for the jugular. So I like the fact that I think Jill's attempting to go for the jugular, but I do believe they should make a tweak to it here, and it should be a felonious hate crime for worshiping Satan, who in and of itself is about hate. If your religion is based on hate, then worshiping it should be a hate crime publicly. Well, you let me find somebody worshiping Satan on school campus around other kids. We can't have prayer in school. We can have satanic worship in school. Well, my blood pressure's getting up just thinking about it. I mean, just thinking about it. It just makes me sick. Let's read a few of your text messages here. Jess says, if we can't pray to God in schools, we shouldn't be praying to anything in school. Amen, Jess. I kind of stole your thunder there, but I didn't see your text after I said it. Let's see here. Reagankin. I think we already read that. All right. We are caught up on the text for now. Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. I've seen some people say that this is an infringement on people's rights. That this infringes upon freedom of religion. It's okay when it's Christians. You're allowed to do all the infringing you want when it's on Christianity. But let's not offend a couple satanic goblins. We're at war, people. Y'all need to call Jill Ford. Y'all need to call the committee chair's name. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you. Y'all need to call him. Y'all need to let people know. Richard Bennett is the committee chair. Richard Bennett. Y'all need to let people know that we want this law passed. We want it to go to a vote. It needs to get out of committee. Is it ridiculous? Yes. It's ridiculous that we're even having to have this conversation. Now, one caveat I have is, who determines what satanic worship is? Or is it kind of like porn? You can't exactly define it, but you know it when you see it. Because I don't want Marilyn Manson concerts being disallowed from coming to the Coliseum. I don't want, if Slayer gets back together, not being able to play at the Coliseum. Not that they ever would. I'm just saying. You know, if I want to go check out a heavy metal show, I don't want the Southern Baptist Convention deciding what is and what isn't Satanism. So it's going to have to exclude musical acts at the Coliseum. Everywhere else I'm good with. Or if we build a new arena. Let's take a break. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, I had so much other stuff I actually wanted to talk about today, and I didn't get to it. I'll do a live stream later. Make sure you're following me on Facebook. Just go to either one of my Clay Edwards pages, the big one, the old Save Jackson page, or my personal page. I stream to both. And I want to get to a conversation about cancel culture and the misrepresentation of what cancel culture is. And when everybody says, oh, I thought conservatives were anti-cancel culture. Thought y'all didn't like cancel culture. I've got a nice rebuttal for that from when we decide to stand up and protest what we believe in or don't believe in, and why I don't think the cancel culture that they're using, the term, is incorrect. So I'm gonna talk about that. I also want to talk about the truckers for Trump, and a North Las Vegas mayor says no white-owned businesses are welcomed at the upcoming community fair. So we'll talk about all that on the live stream today, maybe recap some of the other topics we hit this morning. Be sure to download the podcast, search Clay Edwards Show, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow with Sean Yurtkaran here in the studio.